In June this year, during large-scale exercises involving China's Liaoning and Shandong aircraft carriers, the People's Liberation Army Navy's Plan Type 055 destroyer Nanchang engaged in a rare encounter with an American unmanned vessel. The unmanned craft, part of Triton's Lightfish series, was traveling on an autonomous test route from San Diego to Japan when it was approached and shadowed by the Chinese destroyer for nearly 20 minutes. The footage retrieved later by the vessel's operators showed the two ships passing within a few meters of each other. Fortunately, no collision occurred. The Nanchang maintained a controlled speed, avoiding interference with the smaller vessel's course. Still, the close pass demonstrated the risks inherent when crewed warships encounter unmanned technologies operating without human oversight. China's Type 055 destroyers, displacing more than 10,000 tons, are among the most advanced surface combatants in the world. Equipped with powerful radar, missile systems, and extensive electronic detection tools, they serve as escorts for China's growing aircraft carrier fleet. The Nanchang's ability to locate and track a solar-powered vessel of modest size highlighted its surveillance reach. While unmanned vessels are typically difficult to detect due to their low radar signatures and limited speeds, the Chinese destroyer was able to identify, approach, and monitor the craft with precision. For comparison, Russia's Black Sea Fleet has repeatedly suffered attacks from Ukrainian unmanned boats that slipped past its defenses. The Chinese display of detection capabilities suggests Beijing has studied those vulnerabilities closely and invested in solutions to counter similar threats. This incident raises serious questions for the United States and its partners in the Indo-Pacific. Washington has increasingly looked to unmanned surface vessels as cost-effective tools for reconnaissance and, potentially, for swarm-style tactics against larger adversary ships. Admiral Samuel Papineau, the U.S. Indo-Pacific commander, has floated concepts inspired by Ukraine's use of drone boats, deploying large numbers of unmanned vessels to overwhelm Chinese defenses. But the Nanchang encounter suggests such strategies may face significant obstacles. If Chinese destroyers can reliably detect and shadow unmanned craft, then the element of surprise, central to swarm tactics, could be greatly reduced. What was intended as a low-cost tool to monitor or harass adversary fleets might instead become a liability, easily tracked or neutralized before serving its purpose. The Western Pacific is already one of the most contested maritime regions in the world. China's two active aircraft carriers, with a third under development, regularly operate in waters closely watched by the United States, Japan, and allied forces. Every exercise is met with corresponding surveillance, by aircraft, submarines, and increasingly by unmanned systems. For Beijing, protecting carrier groups is a matter of national prestige and power projection. For Washington and its allies, tracking those carriers is essential to understanding Chinese intentions and ensuring regional balance. This dynamic creates a constant shadow game at sea, where even unarmed vessels can become flashpoints. The June encounter is also significant because it shows that unmanned platforms, while innovative, are not immune to countermeasures. Unlike manned vessels, they cannot quickly alter tactics, negotiate with adversaries, or interpret ambiguous situations. In this case, the American craft did not even recognize it was being shadowed until its video footage was reviewed later. Although the Nanchang handled the situation professionally, the proximity between the vessels highlights potential dangers. Had the destroyer taken a more aggressive stance, intercepting or seizing the unmanned vessel, the incident could have escalated diplomatically. Similar seizures have already occurred elsewhere, with Iranian forces capturing U.S. unmanned craft in the Persian Gulf. Such episodes illustrate how quickly the use of autonomous systems can create new points of tension. Unlike traditional surveillance aircraft or submarines, unmanned surface vessels carry no crew, making them seemingly less provocative to deploy. Yet when intercepted, they raise difficult questions. Are they considered intelligence-gathering devices? Are they legitimate targets for seizure? For both the U.S. and China, avoiding escalation requires careful navigation of these new legal and operational gray zones. This single encounter provides several important insights. 1. China's detection capabilities. The Type 055 destroyer demonstrated the ability to locate and shadow a vessel that would likely evade less advanced navies. 2. Limitations of U.S. unmanned tactics. Strategies that rely heavily on drone boats may face diminishing effectiveness against well-equipped Chinese fleets. 3. Increased risk of maritime incidents. As unmanned vessels become more common, close encounters with rival warships are likely to increase. 4. Strategic messaging. By handling the incident with restraint, China showcased both competence and discipline, sending a message to Washington about its readiness to manage high-tech threats without unnecessary escalation. For Europe, Australia, and other U.S. partners, the Pacific is geographically distant but strategically crucial. Trade routes, supply chains, and regional stability all depend on secure sea lanes. Any disruption caused by clashes over unmanned technologies could reverberate globally. The rapid rise of China's naval power, combined with its demonstrated ability to counter emerging technologies, signals a challenge not only for the United States but for the wider international community. As great power competition moves from land and air into the maritime domain, unmanned vessels may prove to be both an opportunity and a vulnerability. The lesson from the Nanchang's quiet shadowing of a U.S. craft is clear. The oceans are entering a new era, one where artificial intelligence and autonomy will be as decisive as missiles and aircraft carriers. And in this arena, China has shown it is prepared.